Hey there, pirates! Welcome aboard the Anime No Me channel. We know that now that the final battle is approaching, Rayleigh will soon meet the Straw Hats again. He traveled to rescue Boa Hancock and stated that he is not in a condition to face someone like Blackbeard, which means it's time to find a successor to carry on his legacy. Seeing Zoro's appearance and personality, it's obvious he is his choice. Now, we will witness Zoro receiving Rayleigh's supreme grade sword. I hope for your support to help our crew win, and to do so, you just need to click the thumbs up button, leave a like, and subscribe to the channel. By doing this, you will win an incredible devil fruit, so just comment which fruit you want. One of the major questions about Silver's Rayleigh is the true quality of his sword. We know he was Gol D. Roger's right-hand man, and consequently, one of the most powerful swordsmen of his era. The fact that he survived battles against enemies of the highest level and is still alive in the current era shows that his skill with the blade is far from ordinary. But this raises an interesting point. Is Rayleigh's sword a supreme grade blade, just like Roger's? If we look at the high-level swords in One Piece, there is a specific ranking for them. Swords are divided into 4 main categories. The 12 Saijo O Wazamono, Supreme Grade Blades, the 21 O Wazamono, Excellent Grade Blades, the 50 Ryo Wazamono, Fine Grade Blades, and lower quality swords that don't fall into any of these categories. Supreme Grade is the rarest of all, and so far, only a few blades of this level have been confirmed. One of them is Ace, Gol D. Roger's sword. If Roger had a Supreme Grade blade, then it makes sense that his right-hand man would also wield a high-level sword. However, Rayleigh's sword has never had a name revealed, which could mean a few things. It might be a legendary blade whose name hasn't been mentioned yet, or it could be that Rayleigh, despite his strength, never used one of the highest grade swords. If we analyze the confrontations Rayleigh participated in, the durability of his sword is impressive. In Chapter 503, when Rayleigh faces Kizaru, he blocks attacks from the Pika Pika no Mi using only his sword and haki. The most important detail here is that he does this without his sword suffering any visible damage. This already indicates that the quality of this blade is well above the norm. Ordinary swords would have been instantly destroyed upon contact with an admiral. Another detail that reinforces this idea is that Rayleigh lived through the era of the world's most powerful pirates and survived countless battles against legendary figures. During Oden's flashback in Chapter 966, we see Roger's crew face off against the Whitebeard pirates. This means Rayleigh's sword has withstood attacks from figures like Whitebeard, Oden, and other powerful swordsmen. If the blade were common, it would have been destroyed a long time ago. But does this mean Rayleigh's sword is of supreme grade? Perhaps. If we compare it to Mihawk's sword, Yoru, which is one of the 12 Saijo Owazamono, we see a notable difference. Yoru has an imposing presence and is a world-renowned name. Rayleigh's sword, on the other hand, appears to be a simple and unremarkable blade. This could indicate that it's not at the same level, or it could be that Rayleigh never cared to publicize the name of his sword. Another interesting point is that Oda has never confirmed whether swords can change grade depending on how they are used. In Chapter 955, Hitetsu explains that swords can become blackened over time with the use of haki, which can raise their quality. If this is true, then Rayleigh's blade could have been improved over the years, just like Yoru. In the end, I think there's a good chance that Rayleigh's sword is a high-level blade, perhaps one of the 21 Owazamono, or even one of the 12 Saijo Owazamono. But since its name has never been mentioned, there's also the possibility that it's an ordinary sword that has survived for so long due to Rayleigh's monstrous haki. Either way, the truth about this blade may be something Oda still intends to reveal in the future, and when that happens, we might have a definitive answer regarding its classification. And we know that Rayleigh, with his unquestionable experience and skill, is a figure who, throughout the series, has been associated with immense strength, capable of fighting on equal terms with the most powerful opponents. While he has already retired from pirate life, one thing remains clear. He is someone who recognizes the importance of finding a worthy successor, someone who can not only follow in his footsteps, but even surpass him. This search for a successor, which seems to be reaching its climax, is particularly relevant for Zoro. The Straw Hat swordsman, who has shown great swordsmanship throughout his journey, especially alongside Luffy, now finds himself in a position to be more than just a follower or disciple. He is about to become one of the world's greatest swordsmen, and to do so, he needs an even greater power. Rayleigh, in turn, sees in Zoro not only impressive technical ability, but also an unbreakable will to achieve greatness. Therefore, the handing over of a supreme grade sword, a blade that represents a legacy of power, is key to Zoro's evolution as a swordsman. The encounter between Rayleigh and Zoro, which should take place soon, will be a moment full of symbolism and meaning for both characters. Over the years, Rayleigh has observed Zoro and his incredible dedication to the sword, his unwavering strength, and his pursuit of perfection. However, he also saw that Zoro had yet to reach his full potential and needed something more to face the world's greatest enemies, like Mihawk, the current greatest swordsman. Rayleigh's role as a mentor has already been clear before, especially in training Luffy. But now, he feels it's time to help Zoro take the next step, not just as a swordsman, but as someone who carries a greater weight on his journey. The encounter could happen during a moment of great tension where Zoro, already involved in the toughest battles of his life, needs greater power to face figures like Mihawk or even other formidable enemies that will appear on the horizon. The sword Rayleigh will choose to give to Zoro will undoubtedly be a blade of historical weight, something Zoro will need to reach the highest level of swordsmanship, finally becoming a true rival to Mihawk. But the act of Rayleigh handing his sword to Zoro will not just be about giving him a powerful blade. It will, in fact, be a recognition that Zoro has reached the maturity required to understand the responsibility that comes with such power. He is no longer just following his own path in pursuit of the title of world's greatest swordsman, but is now being shaped to carry the legacy of something even greater, the legacy of Roger, and perhaps the very path to becoming the greatest swordsman of all time. The big question about Rayleigh's sword is not just its level of quality, but what it represents. We know that Rayleigh was an extraordinary swordsman, but as mentioned earlier, his blade has never been fully identified. If Rayleigh's sword is in fact a supreme grade blade, this would change the dynamics of One Piece significantly. So far, supreme grade swords, such as the legendary Saijo Owazamono, have been a central part of the story, with well-known names like Mihawk's Yoru or Oden's Ame no Habakiri. However, Rayleigh's blade seems to be something more discreet, nameless, and without fame, but with an undeniable quality that has been able to withstand many hard battles over time. If Rayleigh decides to give this sword to Zoro, it's possible that the blade in question is one of the rarest and most powerful swords in the world, one of the 12 Saijo Owazamono, or even one of the 21 Owazamono. However, the true nature of this blade will be important not only for its intrinsic power, but for its symbolic connection to Rayleigh and to Gol D. Roger. Rayleigh's sword could be the reflection of a past era, Roger's era, and the battle against the greatest enemies of the world. And for that reason, it will become a key part of Zoro's legacy. But giving a powerful blade will also require more from Zoro than just technical skill. Rayleigh's sword will not be just a reward for his talent, it will be a test to see if Zoro is ready to bear the weight of this responsibility. In his encounter with Zoro, Rayleigh may be preparing to see if the Straw Hat Swordsman has the heart and mind needed to wield such a mighty blade. It's not just about cutting with strength or skill, but understanding the legacy that comes with it. And for Zoro, that will be an important step in his journey. Zoro's evolution throughout the story is something that is already clear to everyone. From a hot-headed and impulsive swordsman to someone with a great sense of honor and responsibility, Zoro has proven more than capable of handling the toughest challenges that come his way. However, the giving of Rayleigh's sword will be a milestone in his transformation from a powerful swordsman to someone truly worthy of rivaling the greatest names in the history of fencing. By receiving the sword, Zoro will not just become a stronger swordsman, he will become a symbol of the struggles of past generations, an heir to the sword that in many ways represents the strength and spirit of the pirates of the past. Rayleigh, by handing over this blade, is essentially passing the baton to Zoro, believing that he will be able to continue the work started by Roger and his friends. With Rayleigh's sword in his hands, Zoro will be more than ready to face Mihawk, the current greatest swordsman in the world. The confrontation between Zoro and Mihawk, which seems inevitable, will not just be a battle of technique, but a test of everything Zoro has learned so far. He will have to use Rayleigh's sword and all that it represents to prove that he is worthy of the title of the world's greatest swordsman. That was today's content. We hope you liked it and want to share your opinion on the subject. Don't forget to share the video, give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care and stay amazing.